found the Laid Off Lads podcast, where three average guys from Central Florida discuss anything but average topics and have all the time to do it.
Ooh, right at the start.
That might pick it up.
Phil.
Oh, we're recording.
Yep.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Laid Off Lads podcast.
Where the red light in the corner means something.
Who looks up there? Nobody looks at that.
And
nobody looks at
recording.
that.
Yeah.
Well, in my thing, I have my laptop, and then I have like a big ass monitor right here. So I don't know which one to look at always. If you ever see me look up, I'm not looking. I am still looking at you guys, but I didn't see the little red light in the corner, so that's on me.
Amateur hour.
At least I didn't talk.
No, you burped.
You belched. That was beyond a burp.
Belched, yeah.
But usually you give us a warning of okay, stay quiet. And I'm like,
I
okay.
said everybody said let's do this, so my job is to hit that record button.
I just got a quake alert on my phone for your side of town. 3.2. Nice job. Magnitude on that burp.
Oh, I was like, wait, I didn't feel any shake.
You are like dad joke central since we started this pod. It's
Since we started. That's my gimmick. That's my game.
All right. Well, welcome to what episode 8? 8. And it only took us about 7 episodes to finally be audible in your ears via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.
We're in the realm of Joe Rogan now.
We are in the realm
Spotify.
of Joe Rogan and Dan Patrick and so many others that grace your ears with their sweet, sweet sounds. We will not be one of those, but we will do our best. You guys want to know why it took forever to be on Apple Podcast?
Oh, I know this.
Why?
Go ahead.
It is stupid. And it's not actually really Apple's fault. I mean, I would have liked that. I respect the fact that they had to put it to the engineering department to figure this out. But it's something that is so simple and so, I don't say stupid, but so weird that you wouldn't have thought about it. So the engineering department reached back to the rep that I was talking about. And the message came across. Try in your I think I can say it in Buzzsprout, which is your platform for hosting a podcast. There are several of them out there, but that's just the one that he chose, and they've been great. Try deleting the name of your pod, typing it in with the font that they give you, and then saving it and refreshing the RSS feed.
Wow.
I did that, and what do you know?
That was it?
That was it.
That's
because
crazy.
What I did when I was setting it up was I took the Laid Off Lads words and font from our Instagram, which is a different font than you would normally see. It's not like the default font for that.
You used Comic Sans, didn't you?
What's that?
You used Comic Sans, didn't you?
Whatever the hell it was. And that's all it was. Next thing you know, you can now search for us on Apple Podcast. You can subscribe to us. You can comment, like, please, if you do enjoy this podcast, please rate us on the star system and comment if you can. You can find us on Buzzsprout. You can find us on Google Podcast and on Spotify. So we are now audible. And then, of course, we are on YouTube. So thank you all very much for following us, listening to us so far. Sorry that took forever. That is absolutely our fault. And yeah, you kind of you learn when it comes to the podcast realm, and just type the words in. Don't try to get fancy with it.
In the time that it took to copy and paste the words "laid off lads" into that thing, you couldn't have just typed it out.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like
cutting corners.
How am I supposed to know that that's going to then crash the entire uploading of our pod? Like, I didn't know that. Like, in any of the things that I saw on any of the here's how you do it, here's the instructions for applying for Apple Podcasts, and here's the instructions on you have to have, because it tells you you have to you have to have a title, you have to have this, you have to have that. You have to have like 6 things in order for Apple or Spotify for these things to approve you to be on their site, their platform. And I checked all of those, and Apple said it was good. Like every place said it was good and it was active, but it just wasn't showing up in like the search. So when you went to search for our podcast, it wasn't showing up there. And it took going to the Apple engineers to, after they had figured out the 1998 thing, processor and the Mars rover, they got to us and went, just change your title and the font of your title, and that should do it. And it did. It's like just one of those weird things with like computer audio, anything like that, that's just like the smallest thing will turn everything upside down. It's a pain in the ass.
And that's why there's some smart mother. Apple hires some damn good engineers, because who the hell would think of that? Who thinks of that?
I don't know. Because like, there's no reason to tell anybody that, because that's not really like something that you think of that could affect, because we were showing as active. So if we would have clicked the link that Apple provided us,
No,
it
not
would
we.
take it.
No, not we.
What do you mean?
You.
Okay, fine. Me. Sorry.
Damn.
Don't you lump me in that.
Or the Adolf lads were all lumped in the same thing. But if you would have clicked on the link that Apple provided me for the Laid Off Lads podcast, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Then it would have taken us to our podcast on Apple Podcast. But you couldn't search for it. So it's like it's a weird thing. Like the link worked and everything showed us as being active, but anyways. There it is.
I listened to our podcast today for the first time on Spotify just to sort of check it out. And every day, 5 days a week, I go to Cameron's school to pick him up from school. I get there about 40 minutes early just to make sure I'm like 5th, 4th in line so I can just get him and go.
And you signed an autograph today.
Did I?
I don't know.
Did you? Oh, no, he's not that famous yet.
Damn it.
He could be. You have that famous look. You have just that country, like, especially with that hat, you just have that good old country look.
On a dirt road.
Yeah, you got the drums in the background.
I do.
Which also, thank you to your lovely daughter, because she still has me on her family plan for Spotify. So,
Oh, good. We all share passwords, man. We all share passwords. So I'm sitting in this line, and every day, like I said, 5 days a week, I go to pick them up from school, get there 40 minutes early, listen to a variety of podcasts. Now I can listen to ours again and judge everybody. So I'm sitting there, and 2 days ago, I noticed this big red spot on my neck. I'm like, what the hell's going on with my neck? And about 2 years ago, I had skin cancer on my arm, right about
I
here.
remember that.
And there's a
I
white
remember that. Yeah.
circle. That white circle doesn't have any pigmentation. So ever since they took that skin cancer out, it doesn't tan, it doesn't burn. So when my arm burns or tans, it's just the white circle becomes more pronounced. So I'm like, what the hell is this thing on my neck? Why is my white circle becoming more pronounced? And I realized that sitting 40 minutes in the car rider circle every day while the sun is on the driver's side, I'm getting burned on the left side of my face, the left side of my neck, and my left arm. So every day at 2:00 before I go to pick him up from school, I put sunblock on my left arm, my left face, my left ear, and my left neck. And then I go to school.
So what does it have to do with our podcast?
Well, I listen to it now while I
you
wait.
listen to it. So
Okay. I was like, what
It
is
incorporates it.
what is your skin
Where's everything
pigmentation
going?
on
I
something
don't
that have
know.
to do with
You
an
can
audible
incorporate-
podcast at this point?
you can incorporate anything as long as you listen to the podcast. You can still bring it into this
Very
podcast.
true. That just proves everybody out there, download and listen. And if you're putting sunscreen on only half of your body, then it doesn't affect your ability to listen to our podcast.
Correct.
Good Lord.
Beach weather's coming up, though. I cannot wait for beach weather. I can't wait.
I hate it.
Right
hate
now,
this.
no. On this very day, no.
So weird. Man, my throat's been scratchy, and I wake up like the allergies are just killing me because one day it's 85 degrees. The next day you're going to bed and it's 46 degrees outside, and you get up and it shows that it's 70 degrees, but it's actually feeling like 65 because the wind in the shade is freezing, and it's just your body's like, what the bro? Like, what is going on?
Hate it. Hate it.
Whatever. Do you hate it?
Got anything for the classifieds this week, guys? What's the classifieds?
Classifieds. Do we? I feel like we talked about this beforehand, but
in regards to jobs that I applied for, I've applied for a few like study abroad or like jobs that'll actually take me around the either the country or the state. I think I was telling Ferris this morning around or at Starbucks that I applied for this football association business school or like an internship that they get you within get you involved in a professional soccer club, and you just kind of learn the business sides of it. And I didn't realize it, but this morning I woke up to like a call at 6 a.m. from Switzerland, and I'm like, what the f- are the Swiss calling me for? So obviously I declined it. Obviously I declined it, but then they reach out to me and they're like, hey, like we'd like to talk to you about this opportunity. So I haven't written an email back, but I mean that's pretty sweet. And I applied for another one via UCF because I'm back in school, and that one's with a golf tournament. It's like a juniors golf tournament, and that one will bounce you state to state, and they pay for your housing, food, all of that stuff. And I thought that would be a pretty cool opportunity, because even though I have a job right now, I still need an internship for my courses. So I'm still trying to look for something in the hospitality region. I wouldn't say those are necessarily odd jobs, but if I could do something hospitality related via golf or a soccer club, I'll be golden.
that'd be awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, and if you don't know, check out the Big Storm Brewing account on Instagram. You will see a lovely picture of Phil and I.
That picture, by the way, is very cute. You guys are there, your smiles and your
Saturday.
food. I'm like, oh,
God, I hated it. I hated every moment of that. I'm not a model. I'm not a model.
So
Ferris is a beautiful smile. He's got the perfect
your
look.
smile was great, dude. You had a very natural smile.
I'm very self-conscious about my smile.
I mean,
I need a lot of dental work.
Somebody taking a picture of you. Who the hell cares? Like,
I get it. I get that, but I still have my own like insecurities about myself, which obviously I will fix like throughout my years and as I get older, which is awesome. Cool. Fine. That's on me. But when you put me against Glenn Michael Ferris, sorry that I used your full name, Glenn, but
for those who are listening and can't see it visually, Ferris just did the biggest eye roll you'll ever see.
And that's fine. That's completely fine. But
I mean, love the photo. It made me smile.
Thank you.
The man has beautiful looking teeth. He has phenomenal smile and just put me to shame.
It's Ferris.
Braces.
My hair's all over the place, of course. It's just all. I was like, the moment she called me over and she's like, come on, we're gonna do some photos. And I'm like, I don't want to. And there's like they give you the wings, they give you burgers, and they're like, get in there, like make it look like you're having fun.
Too.
Cheers the beer. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this.
This is how you promote. This is how you sell. Like, you come down to the Amway and come to Big Storm Brewing. We are open 7 days a week. You don't have to be going to a game to visit. It's a very awesome location. 20 beers on tap. A lot of fantastic beers. And the food.
When did this become a promotional pitch?
Not because all of a sudden I felt like I had to. But
Irish there? All of a sudden.
Hey, St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
It is. I got a flag from my garage. I got the American flag flying every day, so I bought an Irish flag, the flag of Ireland, to go out there in a couple days. My son,
are you guys doing anything for St. Patrick's Day?
Who's you guys?
Obviously, like with COVID running rampant. I mean, still, like, I know the vaccines come out, but if you all want to get together,
well, I don't know what we're gonna have to work, but my family always is a big St. Patrick's Day bash. They have been for years and years. My mom does like 20-some pounds of corned beef and another 15 pounds of cabbage and potatoes and all of that. But one of the best things that she puts out decoration wise at the house, and I don't know if we can maybe share this on the YouTube. I don't know if you guys can see that.
The hell is that?
It is a toilet seat that is has a Irish hat with clovers The actual toilet seat cover is a leprechaun-looking gentleman that is gingered out, and the like mat in front of the toilet is a nice leprechaun outfit. So that's one of the things that my mom always.
So does that mean that you're
Makes
the
me
gold, and that
Ooh.
leprechaun's just collecting the gold?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I have a photo to share as well. My son, for some reason, is huge into the dab now. Like I'm like, dude,
What?
this was
it's
like
a little late.
yeah, way late. For some reason, he
Wow.
thinks he's stuck in like
Where did he
whatever
see it?
2015. I have no idea, but he's constantly doing the dab. So with St. Patrick's Day coming up, I bought him a T-shirt and another visual for those at home. This is the T-shirt I bought him. A leprechaun doing the dab.
Yes, that is awesome. That is so f***ing cool. That is awesome.
I'm like, I don't know, man.
that.
Yeah, it's
You're
great.
such a
like
good
that.
dad, dude. You are such a good dad. That is
Oh.
an awesome shirt.
Yeah, that's a good
There,
one.
there's another one that I saw that I'm probably gonna buy. It says happy, or no, it says Saint, but it says St. Patrick's Day. It has a picture of who we mentioned on this pod before, but Dan Patrick's face, and then it says day. So I'm actually probably gonna buy that because I've been a big fan of his and his show. But yeah, there's some good shirts, and St. Patrick's Day is a big holiday for the Ferris household, for sure.
It was really big with me in college, and that's probably why I resent Jaeger so much.
A holiday to drink.
Um,
It's big for every, you know.
Well, but I know I've told you that before, but for those of us local who know UCF, you know the old Knights Library. St. Patrick's Day, I mean, they used to throw a massive block party to where they would just block off the entire corner of University and Alafaya. Huge. And I would live walking distance from there. So we would walk there. I mean, just pound drinks nonstop, Irish car bombs, Jaeger bombs, anything you can drink. And I actually, I passed out on the side of University because I just ran off, and my cousin just left me to fend for myself. And I guess as he was walking back, there were a ton of college kids just getting pictures with some drunk asshole that passed out in a ditch. That drunk asshole was me. So my cousin runs up to all these people, just trying to push him away from me. And St. Patrick's Day is a lovely holiday for me. And
I
it just
solved
gives me an excuse.
I solved a great mystery for one of my previous coworkers way back in the day who went to New York for St. Patrick's Day, got
that's
tied up in
cool.
a bunch of celebrations, came
That's
back
cool.
with a piece of her tooth missing. It was her front tooth, and like a quarter of that tooth was chipped off. So she came back. She's like, I have no idea what happened. I was so hammered. I have no clue. So I'm like, so what were you drinking when you were up there? She mentioned Irish car bombs. So I'm like, so
Yeah, good stuff.
the shot glass was dropped into the Guinness, right? She's like, yeah. And you were slamming these things, and that shot glass slams back into your tooth. She's like,
Yeah, pint
oh,
glass.
Ooh,
now I
yes.
know what happened to my tooth.
That's
The Irish
true.
car bomb. Fucking
And that's
chipped
why I
my
hated Guinness. I hated Guinness. And here's a picture from that lovely night. I don't know if you can see that, but
Oh, look at him.
Which one are you?
there's
The second one?
obviously no, the first one on the I can't either left or right.
Oh
the
my
far
God.
one.
That's you
Yeah,
with the
that-
glasses?
Yeah,
No.
brother.
Oh,
Oh, on the
that's
right.
you with the glasses?
Yeah, that's me with the glasses. There you go.
And that's why boys hated Phil for the longest time. That picture alone.
We still won't get into that.
I mean that picture's taken in 2011, so I was not at Universal yet, so you would not have known me.
St. Patrick's Day has been it's been an interesting one at the Ferris household, but mainly like the afters and when I was in college and those type of things, there were some interesting things that happened. So we would go down to this place. It's right by the hospital. Actually, Barack Obama, when he was doing his I don't know what the hell is it called, but when you're trying to run for
Inauguration.
no, prior
Campaigning.
campaigning. I think
Yes.
either while he was campaigning or he was actually in office. He's actually sat down. If you don't know, he's a big fan of Irish pubs, and he sat
cool to
down
know.
at O'Keefe's. Yeah, he's been to O'Keefe's. He's been to the one up here. Oh my gosh, been going to for years. I can't think of
Finnegan's,
no. Downtown.
O'Reilly's Auto Parts.
Downtown. The Kelp. And there's
Harp and Kelt, yes.
Harp and
We
Kelp.
know.
Picked up an alternator and some Guinness.
that's
These auto parts.
But he was
How
actually
does that
pictured
place
at-
not have Guinness? Oh my God.
It should.
You were very
It
right.
True.
We didn't even
Very,
run
very
the
true.
marketing campaign. Man, they are failing.
But anyways, like I don't know, one St. Patrick's Day, I decided to take. It was pissing down rain, so everybody was inside, and they do a big like tent party out, outside, big tent, big Irish dancers, a whole nine. One year they had Otis Day in the Night. Shout from Animal House.
No clue.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I know the song. Yeah.
On a shout,
Yeah.
right? From
Man, that's
Animal
old.
House.
Old
Yeah,
school.
What's that?
that song's annoying.
Old for me.
Are they still relevant? Unless it's Wedding Crashers,
Otis
they're
Day
not
in the
too
Night?
relevant right
That was a
now.
one-hit wonder.
Yeah, it really
Shout.
was.
Otis, like you remember when in Animal House when he's like Otis, he's wearing the sunglasses and all that. Anyways, Otis Day played there. You guys are like, okay.
No.
He played there, and he played that song over and over again, but everybody was loving it. What that has to do with St. Patrick's Day, have no clue. But who the hell cares? There was beer, and Otis Day was up there from Animal House and everything else playing Shout, one after another. But the one year it was pissing down rain, I decided to get a slippery when wet sign. And when people would walk by, right before they walk by, I would put it down and go, whoa, 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 careful. And they looked like they either wanted to punch my lights out, confused as hell, or they looked down at the ground. It's so stupid. I don't know why. And half the time it was just more confusion. And then they would like look up and then I would just be like, hey, how you doing? How's your mom? And they would give me another weird look and then it'd be like, oh, you know what? She's actually okay. It just like diffused everything. And it was the weirdest thing. But that night ended with a picture of me in a tutu holding a slippery when wet sign.
You want to talk about stealing signs?
I was going to say, and Boyce, you think I'm the asshole? You hear that story? Come on now.
One time,
Funny, though.
I stole a sign. There wasn't a sign. It was a framed 18th hole from the
Yes.
Bay Hill Invitational
Yes,
flag
that boy.
that
good
was
Lord.
signed by Payne Stewart. I was,
That cool.
I
And
was
you didn't get
hammered.
arrested?
Do you still have it?
No, I gave it to a friend of mine. He might still have it.
God.
Muppet.
Yeah,
But-
absolute Muppet.
I stole this sign off the wall. I was known back in the day for stealing signs, and my apartments just had beer signs and bar signs. But this was the 18th hole flag from the Bay Hill Invitational, signed by Payne Stewart, ex golfer. 1 week later, he died in a plane crash.
No. Oh.
He was in a Learjet that was flying to Colorado. Somewhere along the line, the cabin depressurized. Everybody passed out, and they ended up crashing in, I think, South Dakota. They had like F-15 fighter jets like trailing them because they didn't get any response
I think
back
I
from.
realized he died in a plane crash.
He died in
Bro,
a
this
plane
is
crash.
this is some night at the museum with like King Tut. You removed a piece of him, and you're the one who crashed that plane.
And you
Yeah, that
gave
was
that
really
flag
weird.
away
Like,
after
a
that?
week or two
Oh my
later.
God, there's no way I would have given that. And I'm not even like a big like golf fan, but there's no way I'm giving that
No, I
flag
gave it to
away.
the person that night. I
I
stole
mean,
it
Oh, okay.
and
okay.
gave
Let's
it to that
also
person
hope
that
that
night.
the
And
Still,
about a
though.
week or two later, he died.
let's hope that the owner of that pub or bar is not listening to this.
That place is now
Um,
in LA Fitness on Kirkman.
Let's hope the LA
Oh,
Fitness
that used
who
to be
absorbed.
what was that called?
JB's.
JB's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
JB's bar. There was a
That's
lot of
signs
nights
at
there.
JB's.
A lot
Damn,
of nights.
Giant neon signs, and yeah, I live
I
there.
would say I've stolen quite a lot of things at bars when I'm drunk, and I mean, I would just come home and wake up from being passed out, and I'd have like, I don't know, cue balls. Like I woke up, I had the 8-ball from a pool table in there, so I apologize forever
Little
for
odd.
anyone who that TV remotes. I thoroughly enjoyed stealing things when I was intoxicated at local bars, but not like nice pubs or nice bars. And I mean, I'm talking like ones that are packed to where you have
Yeah.
to like move in. Like you're literally like a mime as you
hole
like
in the wall
sideways
bars
in.
that are like,
Yes.
hey, it's like dollar beer night, so everybody in the freaking town shows up.
Somehow I would always just wake up with just random in my pocket. I mean, random stuff in my bed, just random.
Those are women.
Not too many occurrences with women. I played my cards very right with that. I wasn't that type of guy back then. There's the picture. There it is. Good old hand up. There's the
The slippery when wet sign.
Do you still have that?
Wow.
The what?
Do you have that leading to like your bed or anything?
No, I left it at the. I left because they actually had it out because it was.
Yes.
God damn it.
I'd say the biggest thing, or probably the most expensive thing that I have ever stolen, is after Hurricane Katrina.
Nope. Stop. Nope. We're not sharing this on air. You're just like you can't.
Me
say
and my
that
brother
You're coined an automatic pick if you
took
steal
a
something.
drive to where nobody was out there. Obviously, there's stoplights that crash to the ground. I mean, lights are down, wires are down, and everything. We ended up with like a stop sign and like a full-blown stoplight. And I don't know if you know how big stoplights are.
Yeah,
I know they look like real little.
Huge.
Those things are like 4 feet tall. They're massive. They are massive. And somehow we lugged that back to home, and my parents,
Wow.
no.
That's impressive.
I don't know what we ended up doing with it, but yeah.
Since we're talking about stuff that we probably should go to jail for, the one other, which is one of our first topics that we're going to get into, one St. Patrick's Day. So O'Keefe's was like a mile down the road. So instead of driving home, that's not very smart. You don't want to do that. We would walk home. And we would follow the Pinellas County Trail, and it would lead us a good bit of the ways back to where my home in Clearwater is. What we would do is in the tent party, you couldn't exit with beer. But if you had got a beer right before everything closed, put it on the other side of the fence, left, and then walked around and picked up the beer, you would have a beer for the walk home. Makes sense. To Ralua, and you just walk home. The beer. I had to piss real bad. So usually you just pull over to the nearest bush or the ditch or wherever and let loose.
Advantages of being a man.
Exactly. There happened to be a portal potty there. I was like, oh, how fortunate is that? There's a portal potty. Go pee in the portal potty. Peed in the portal potty. Into my cups a bit. Couldn't figure out how to get out. It had like self-locked itself somehow. So I finally kicked open the door, got so mad that I pushed over the portal potty, looked up, and it's right in front of the Clearwater police station.
Oh boy.
Now, this is at like 2:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. So thankfully nobody was on duty at that particular headquarters at that time, but that was not one of my most shiny
That's
moments.
surprising because you're really not one to get frustrated over little things like that.
I'm not.
You want a good pee story? My brother and I
love pee stories.
Yeah, here's a good pee story. My brother and I were at a Lightning game probably about 7 or 8
Yes.
years ago. You know how stadiums get when you're trying to get in to pee in between periods and they're jammed.
Yep.
He takes a urinal right next to a stall. That stall's open. I'm in the stall. That stupid son of a bitch was wearing flip-flops. So I'm sitting there peeing. You're looking down. You're just peeing. And to my left, I see a foot with a flip-flop on it. So I take my stream and I sort of go to the left.
Oh, God.
And I pee all over his foot. Not
You
only
need
does he lose it, he's laughing his ass off, but everybody in that vicinity who was waiting sees my stream hit his feet. And this is whatever Tampa's arena is. They were losing
Emily.
their
No,
They
I
were
don't know
laughing
what
their
that
ass.
can,
As
but-
soon as I came out of that stall, they were all applauding. Because I pissed on his foot.
Did you reveal that you were his brother? Or did they just think that some random dude pissed
No,
on
we
some
were
other
both
guy's
laughing,
foot?
so nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
awesome.
great.
If someone pissed on my foot, my ass would be kicking in that door.
It's
'cause
you know
it's
what?
a boys' birthday week.
Those bathrooms there are actually not half bad. It's boys, did you ever go to the Big Sombrero Houlihan stadium back in the day where the Bucks played?
Houlihan. No.
So it was called the Big Sombrero because it's really old football stadium that kind of dipped up like a sombrero.
Huh.
But in the bathrooms for the men, they had troughs.
I hate troughs.
I know. It's absolutely
Wrigley Field had troughs, and I held it for an entire 9 innings.
the most unsanitary thing ever.
Yeah.
But I never actually saw this, but you can probably YouTube this nowadays. But people would make bets, and they would give people hundreds of dollars, or maybe even like $20 to do a slough slide or a slough slide.
I'm sorry. What?
Have you ever heard of that or seen that?
No.
I've never heard or seen that either, but there are videos of people being paid money to do a trough slide.
Explain.
Yeah. Explain that.
You got to explain. I know that you
Well,
keep saying
I
the
need a
term
visual.
explain.
I
Well,
mean, I
you
want a
kind
visual,
of-
but I need one.
Kind of walked away as you usually do once a pod.
I can still hear. Like I got my earbuds in. I can still hear what.
All right,
what's going on.
so you at older stadiums they had these troughs for men, and you would just pee in the trough.
Yes.
It's essentially a big tub that is
I
just
understand what a trough
stands
is, yes.
right.
Mhm.
Well, again, I never saw this. I was a kid when that stadium, it was open, but I later found out and heard that there were drunken people out there that would pay other drunken people to do a trough slide.
Ooh.
They would get a running start and slide down the length of the trough, either face first, feet first, and if you made it down the trough with that, you would get. So you're basically sliding through pee if you're not paying attention.
All right. How much? I know, Mr. Brad. We play that game all the freaking time. How much? But with you two, how much would it take?
At least
you
six
all.
figures. At least six figures.
6 figures?
Six
Hell no.
figures?
At least six figures.
You
I'd
are.
do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say-
yeah. That's what I mean. Like if somebody goes,
No,
I paid
no, no.
100,000 to do a
Okay,
cross
Here we
slide.
go. 1,000 boys. Would you go? $1,000. If drunk people throw down $1,000 and they're like, "We want you to slide through this tub of piss," do you
No.
do it?
No, not 1,000.
No.
2,000.
No.
If you get to
$5,000.
five, I'll debate it for 5 depending on how drunk I am.
No.
5,000. I'd do it in a heartbeat. You can always clean yourself off a piss. That's fine.
Yeah,
Like, you.
yeah.
I'm not like
I
sitting
don't
there
know
with
what the somebody
If I
has
get
in
a
their
jellyfish sting, I'm looking
No.
for somebody to piss on me.
Okay, R.
That's
Kelly.
one thing.
Like,
That's survival.
R. Kelly.
Jesus.
R. Kelly.
We aren't going to go there.
That's for free.
But it would take a lot.
OBJ.
God damn it.
Oh no, OBJ was. He wanted a good old Cleveland steamer, I think.
I haven't heard about that one.
OBJ.
Oh, you got to look into that one. Yeah. Some chick came out. And, yeah, we'll discuss that after the pod. I don't want to get too graphic or anything, but that's fine.
Documentary front. Because there's an R. Kelly documentary that's on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's good. Sad, but good.
Like Life After Porn. It was very sad, as Ferris says. I refuse to watch it, but
I haven't watched that because I'm afraid it's going to be on my list of things after I watch it.
that's what I said. But Ferris says
You're
no
an
shame.
adult. You're above the age of 18. It's a fucking documentary. Just watch it for Christ's sake.
Is there nudity?
Have you watched it?
Yeah. Yes,
Is it
I've
good?
watched
You
it.
watched it.
I've watched Life After Porn and Life After Porn 2.
Is it worth
Exactly.
watching?
He watched the sequel to it.
I believe it is. But I love documentaries. We've been over this one. I love a good documentary. So it was interesting to me to but they don't cover just like they cover the span of porn stars. Like porn stars in like the 60s and then one in the 80s and then one in like the 2000s and modern. And but it's quite sad to see how some of these people's lives have turned out as the result of the industry that they got into.
Yeah, but they made a ton of cash.
It's still the most profitable thing on the internet.
If there were no other
Which-
jobs and they said you needed to be a porn star, would you take it?
We're
How
talking
desperate
six
would you need to
figures
be?
again. We're talking six figures again.
6 figures?
Six figures.
To see
We're
the
talking
6'6" giraffe? Oh,
Slide
man.
across the trough or being a porn film?
I've done
It's one and the same, really.
We're both. It's that R. Kelly special, man.
Yeah.
But anyways, where I was initially going with this, as we got off on tons of tangents at this point, good Lord, was the murder of the Mormons.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did tell me about that one.
That one's interesting. A 3-part documentary. It's very, very interesting. Boys, you would enjoy that one.
I'm a documentary fanatic.
Yeah,
That's all I watch.
It's let me just double check and just make sure I'm telling you the right thing. But I watched it, 3 episodes, real quick watch, like an hour each. A story that happened in the mid to late 80s. Very interesting, and I didn't know anything about it. But it is
a man who kills his wife but still has 6 left.
No.
It's a true crime, right?
True crime actually happened, but it is a lot involved with it. It's quite interesting. Get a chance, watch it.
What's it called again?
Murder of the Mormons, or
all right,
let's look the damn thing up.
I did recommend that to Gabby.
Murder Among the Mormons. It is currently on the top 10 list of Amazon.
It keeps recommending it to me, and I'm gonna watch it.
It's
I'm
real
gonna
quick.
wait. I'll wait for it, but I'll definitely
Real quick. It's interesting. Well, anyways, that was the classifieds. If we actually covered anything within the classifieds, but
I don't know if we did.
what's the topic? As I alluded to earlier, there was a question that came into us, I believe, from Boyce, your wife again.
Probably.
That was, what is something that you should have been arrested for?
Correct.
Damn.
Correct.
Do you have any?
Yes, I do.
Something.
So every year, with the exception of last year, COVID, my brother and I get together in the middle of March for Boyce Brothers Week. It goes back about 11 years.
It's a full week.
Brother, Yeah, he takes leave from the military because we never see each other. This is the one time a year we see each other. My brother and I are best friends, and we never get to see each other. So we said, all right, we got to commit 1 week a year to you and I hang out, and it's just debauchery and crazy. Early on in Boyce Brothers Week, it was crazier because we were younger. We didn't give shit. So it's gotten a little bit more tame as years have gone on. So in the earlier years, we were at a Phillies spring training game. Clearwater. The tradition is we go to the Phillies spring training games, drink a ton of beer, get wasted. So this particular year, we're drinking. It's crazy. Afterwards, you go to leave the game, and it's a giant fields and fields, and people are trying to exit, and it takes for ever to get out.
I know those fields well. There were a lot of high school drinking parties at those fields.
Yes. Yeah. So instead of trying to take your car and wait hours in a line, you just sort of hang out in the fields and wait for the crowds to dissipate and get out. My brother goes in the trunk of his car and takes out a 4-iron. He's got clothes back there. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He takes his 4-iron out and starts dropping down golf balls, tees them up, and just starts drilling golf balls into this field of cars. I'm like, what the are you doing? At least use like a 7 or 8-iron. And he's just like, no, because that'll go a shorter distance. You got to go to the 4-iron so it goes further and hits cars and they won't see us. So I'm like, this is bad. But we're drilling 4-iron. We're drilling golf balls into the.
God damn it.
So we're driving back. And Clearwater to Kissimmee is where I lived at the time. So we're driving on I-4. Somewhere around Auburndale, we stopped to get gas at this, whatever those giant places are called where all the trucks come in. And we're looking for food and drink. There's an Arby's there. It was always a tradition to stop
I
at this
know
Arby's.
Yes, I know exactly
Always
what you're talking
a tradition.
about.
We stop at this Arby's, and he says, hey, I'll bet you $25 that you can't drink these 2 24-ounce cans of Coors Light by the time we get back to your house. And 24-ounce cans are huge. They're giant.
Oh, yeah, they're big
cans of beer. We had been drinking all day. We're out in the sun all day. We're just baked. We're fried. We're hammered. So I'm like, hell yes, I'll take this on. So, when you buy a bucket of beer, there's a big plastic bucket. They put all the bottles of beer in there. We had a bucket in the car that we just took for whatever. So I take the challenge. We get back on the road. We're on I-4. He's like, all right, you got to drink both of these by the time we get home. It's about 30 minutes. So I'm like, hell yeah, I can do this.
For
So-
$25?
Yeah,
In 1934, $25 was a lot of money.
it was. And it was 1934.
They paid in shekels.
Shekels. So I'm about a quarter way through the first beer. I'm just like, and you know when you've been drinking all day, but you haven't had a drink in about an hour,
You're just
and
tired.
just like it hits you, and you're like, oh man, I don't think I can do this. So I get a quarter way through the beer, and I have this bucket in my at my feet. It's an empty bucket. So as we're driving, I'm pointing out to things on the driver's side, going, "Hey, check that out." And as I'm distracting him, I'm pouring the beer into this bucket to prove
It's a
that I
waste of
drank.
beer.
I can't drink it though. So I'm pouring this beer into this open bucket slowly over the course of the time that we're driving to win the bet. So half of the beer gets poured into this bucket. I crump up the can and go, "There's one down," and chuck it into the back seat where my buddy is passed out. Another buddy of ours is passed out. So the next can I open, I'm like, all right, one more to go. We're 15 minutes away from home. I'm taking little sips, distracting him, pouring more into the bucket at my feet. So this bucket is starting to load up with beer. 5 minutes from our house, we get cops. Right after a toll, state troopers pull us over.
Yes.
He's a Marine at the
Florida
time.
Highway Patrol.
He's a Marine who's wearing this giant straw hat that we found in the parking lot. He looks like a goddamn fool. My friend in the back seat is completely hunched over, passed out. I have a bucket of this open beer at my feet. It's not contained. It's me pouring beer into a bucket as a state trooper is pulling us over. So I chucked the beer into the bucket, put it in the back seat. There was almost like a day planner of some sort my brother had. I placed that over the bucket to try to hide the smell.
Smart. Yeah.
Oh, you ain't hiding that smell.
We
Smart.
open up all the windows, and this state trooper comes. He's a black guy. He is hard as hell. I mean, we're talking just like hard, like steel. He's got the hat on. He's just huge. And he just walks up and he goes, "License and registration." I'm like, oh my God, we're f***ed. My brother pulls this move that I think a lot of people in the military try to pull. So he's takes out his little wallet clip and he fumbles through it, and he's got his military ID. Goes,
Yes.
oh no, wait, it's not that one. Let me see this. In a weird way to sort of show the guy that he's military, but not going, oh yeah, whatever. And then he gives him his driver's license. And the military and the state trooper goes, "So what are you trying to do with the military ID there?" So he calls him on his bull. I'm like, oh my God. He gives him his driver's license. My brother lives in Virginia. His tag is Maryland. His driver's license, California. He's military.
Yes.
Well,
So
he's
you
been
got
all over the
place. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a license that says one thing, a driver's license that says one thing, a license plate that says another, and in reality, he lives in another place. So this guy is sitting here. So the state trooper goes back to his car, and he just waits it out. My brother's in his pants. He's just like, "That's it. I'm gonna be kicked out of the military. What are we gonna do?" And he's losing his mind. And I'm just like, we're 15 minutes away from me winning $25. That was my mind. My other friend is just slouched over in the back seat with the windows down and a bucket of beer in the back. And so the cop makes us wait 20 minutes, literally 20 minutes, not a word, not anything. So my brother is just bricks. He walks, the cop comes back and just stares at us. Like stares at us. I'm like, what's he going to say? What's he going to do? He gives us our license back and he goes, "Slow it down. Have a good day." And he walks back. My brother's like, oh my God, I could have been court-martialed and I could have been like kicked out of the military. How we got out of that is a miracle. When you have a bucket of open beer, not
Open container, but
just
just open bucket. Yeah.
an open bucket of beer in your back seat while your friend is slouched over, hanging out the window, passed out. And my brother's drunk as with a giant straw hat on. How we got out of that, I have no clue.
It's funny because when you get pulled over drunk, it's happened to me a couple times, but you sober up immediately.
Real
Yeah.
quick.
You can have a great time. I mean, you're pulled over and you've been drinking.
But when
Your
he got
face
called out for
goes on
putting in
real
his
quick.
military ID, which in a lot of cases will work when you're like, here's a cop. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
military. They'll be
Because
like,
odds are they're
let's
like
go.
Well,
ex-military.
he
most
goes-
cops are ex-military. Yes.
yeah. But when that state trooper said, what are you doing with that? And he,
He's
I
like,
bet you
there
just
goes
fucking
there
with
goes
you. I
plan
bet
A.
you just with you guys.
yeah, he could have easily arrested all of us.
And we certainly don't condone drinking and driving at all. I think we've all made mistakes in our past and have done that to an extent, and it's not something that you want to do nowadays. Well, I'm gonna say nowadays at all. You don't want to do it at all at any point. But we've all been there. I was in a similar scenario in college. I was over on the other side of town. Only had 1, 2, something like that, and then came over to a place closer to where I lived on the campus side of town, and had another 1, 2. Really didn't have that much. I've had a lot more, and unfortunately have been behind the wheel, and I should not have. And I look back on that and I go, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. But anyways, we leave that place, hop in my car, and a friend was in town and was meeting us back at our apartment. And could not tell you for the life of me why or what the conversation was, but it was some sort of race back to the apartment. And I took the longer route thinking that I could prove a point at that time. Not the case. So I go around, I lived maybe a half a mile from where our apartment was. But I took the longer route, which was more like a mile just to get to a half a mile to where we lived. Drove around, was flying through a road. It's, I don't know, 12 something at night. I can't tell you. Get pulled over a quarter of a mile from where I live. Like my complex is a quarter of a mile. You could see it. You could point. It's like right there. I get pulled over. I pull over. Automatically have my ID and car registration in hand. Show them. Officer goes license registration. Blah blah blah. Hand it off to him. He goes back to his car. Before he went back to his car, he asked, "Hey, have you had anything to drink tonight?" I said, "Yeah, I've had, 1 or 2. We have a friend in town, and it was, across the street there." He goes, "Okay." Goes
In
back.
reality, how many did you actually have?
Honestly, it was 4 or 5. It was not
You are
that
a
much.
lying sack of.
On this particular occasion, I kid you not.
You
On this
lied to the
particular-
law.
No,
You lied
well,
to the law.
correct. We're talking about times we should have been arrested, so I'm fine.
Sometimes you should lie to the law.
You are not the
So-
law.
I told a half truth
In theory, yes.
in theory.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He goes back to his car. I'm waiting, and I'm thinking the same thing as your brother. What the gee, I'm screwed. Like, knowing that for me at 6'6", like I know I'm how I'm acting and how I'm fine. But in the eyes of having to blow and all of that, that's a different story. Heyo. Comes back, goes, okay, can you step out of the car for me? I step out of the car, and I'm wearing a hat, but it's not backwards, it's frontwise. He goes, can I have you step up on the curb? So I'm following everything he says. I step up on the curb. He gets out his flashlight and goes, how many did you say you had again? I said, I had 1 or 2 down the street. We got a friend in town. He goes, where you going? And I just point. I go, right there to the apartment complex. And he goes, okay. He goes, can you take your hat off for me? So I take my hat off, and he has his flashlight in hand. It's like staring at me. Then he kind of looks down. Then he looks up. And he goes, Jesus, man, you're tall. And all I can say is, yes, sir. And he looked down. And then he looked up again. And then he went, you're going right there? I said, yes, sir. He goes, watch the speeding. Be careful. Don't do it again. He followed me to the apartment complex. Went home. I got home. I was like shaking. I was like, oh my God, how did I? Because
You got out of a ticket because of your height.
correct.
Yes,
Damn.
man.
Usually people
That's
get out of
good.
tickets for other physical attributes, especially those on the other side of the gender spectrum.
Correct.
Females.
But I got out because of my height. And it was a guy like
Wow.
the dude was just like, why is he staring at me? Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, do I have like beer like flowing down my mouth, or do I have like food on my face or something, or like, do I look like a complete fool? And he's just like, Jesus, man, you're tall. Yes, sir.
Which I guess I can. I was telling you guys earlier, but I've been pulled over close to anywhere from like 10 to 15 times, and I've managed to get out of all but one ticket. And yes, one of those times, like, I very well could have probably gotten a DUI. I mean, I'm pounding drinks downtown, driving down 408. I don't know if you've ever been on 408, but they set up traps there quite often, and they set them up with state troopers, and they are not lenient in the slightest. And yes, I've been pulled over on there, and that's why I said, when you see those lights, doesn't matter how much you've had to drink, your ass sobers up real freaking fast. And I mean, I've been taken out of the car. I've had to do the alphabet backwards. I've had to do the stand on 1 foot, touch
You
your
want to
nose.
do the alphabet backwards?
The alphabet
That's an
backwards.
actual thing.
That is an actual thing.
I learned that when I was 12 years old, when I lived in New York. We had to drive
Yeah.
from Pennsylvania to New York every weekend, and to kill time, I learned it backwards. Did you have to say the entire thing?
Yeah. And for some reason, when I drink, I think a lot more clearly. Like I like that anxiety that I usually have, like if I were to get pulled over, actually decreased because I had been drinking, and that actually decreased my anxiety. So I was actually able to think a little bit more thoroughly. So yeah, I was able to say the entire thing. Did the
Can
whole.
you do it now?
Can I do it right now? Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going through my head.
I'm not even gonna try it.
CYXWVUTSRQPONMLKGIHGFEDCBA.
Holy
All right.
I
If
learned that
anyone
when I
can
was
actually record that in
7 or 8.
frontwards.
holy.
See, and you'd be fine. And I, in a sense, did the same thing, but a little bit slower
Wow.
than that. But yeah, I had to walk the line. I had to do the touch your nose, and the only thing they did not do, which I was very surprised by, because they said, like, we smell beer on you, and I'm like, yeah, I had been drinking downtown and whatnot. They did not run a breathalyzer on me. They did everything but a breathalyzer, and you could tell that the guy was super chill, just wanted to be very lenient. And I just kind of used humor and just talked to him, and as long as you don't kind of act drunk,
Well, and you don't act like an asshole.
correct. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't scared. I wasn't anything like that. Like, I was just chill, and like, whatever happens, happens. And I got off scot-free. Like, I was fine. I was able to drive home, but during that drive home, I was zoned in. I made sure that everything was perfect. And again, as you said, Ferris, I do not condone anyone to ever try that. Be responsible. Obviously, as a kid growing up, like, yeah, you have to learn that sense of responsibility. And I was probably on that like borderline, but you sober up real fast. When you see them red and blue lights flashing behind you, you're like, F-.
And if you're not an asshole about it, odds are they're going to see it as a mistake, that if you're not endangering somebody, or you didn't put harm to anyone else or them, to give you a ticket or to say go on your way and just be safe.
Right.
I recently, within the last few months, got pulled over and didn't have my driver's license on me.
Mm-hmm.
The time we had just moved into a new place, my driver's license, which was in my wallet, was in the old place. I was coming from the new place to the old place. We were starving, had just like moved in all day, got some Taco Bell and eating that. I'm driving back to the place to get another carload of things, and get pulled over by Orange County, or I don't know what it is. One of the things I was always taught was you get pulled over, already have your driver's license, which I did not have, and your car registration in hand and available for the cop. Because, regardless of what you're being pulled over for, that's what they're going to ask for. So instead, I grabbed my registration and progressive card for insurance. And when he came to the door, I had it already out, or when he came up, I already had it out for him. And I said, here's my insurance and here's my car registration. I go, unfortunately, I don't have my actual driver's license on me. I said, we had just moved all day. Meanwhile, he can look in the car and clearly see there's like Taco Bell in our laps. My girlfriend's sitting there with Taco Bell and like a full bag of like whatever we just ordered in our laps. And he can see that, odds are, and the seats are down in the back seat and it smells like boxes in my car. That's a ticket. You don't have that. That's a ticket.
In a theory, but they can still look you up.
Correct. But that's why I provided multiple forms of identification to him, not just one.
You want to talk about
how respectful about the entire thing. He came back and said, okay, just be safe. I know when you move, it sucks. Just make sure you get that. I got pulled over for my tag light. The light on my lights. The light that you have to have on your tag has to be on. I don't know if anybody owes that, but that's a law. Not just your headlights and all that, but your tag on your light has to be on. But if you're respectful and you provide those documents, more times than not, you're just being told, "Hey, I had to be safe, get it dressed, and move on."
But also,
how one of those documents can get you out of a ticket. The last time I was pulled over, which was many, many years ago, showed the cop my driver's license. He looks at it, he laughs, and he goes, "I'm going to let you out of this speeding ticket just for this picture." And that was the picture.
Oh my God.
And you say I'm an asshole.
Oh my God.
It's the biggest douchebag picture. And you know what? The story behind this is, this goes back to probably 10, 15 years ago.
Driver's license picture.
I go to the DMV with my daughter, Abby, and she was a kid at the time. I mean, look at that picture as young as I was. She goes, "Daddy, I bet you can't make a crazy face when they take your picture." I'm like, "All right, let me see if I can do this." And so she goes to take the picture at the DMV, and I just make a face, whatever face comes to mind. That was the face that came out, and they didn't say anything. They just said, "All right, here you go," and they sent me on my way. And so the last time I was pulled over, that picture, that douchebag picture, got me out of a ticket because he laughed and said, "I'm going to let you go just because of this picture."
Lovely.
Yes. So I got out of one for being too tall. You got out of one for having a douchebag picture. And Phil got out of one for being a higher ticket.
I promise you, if you just crack jokes, if you crack jokes at yourself, if you crack jokes at the situation. I mean, I got pulled over by a minivan cop one time, and I just rolled down the window. Cop came over and I said, "Sir, it's an honor to be pulled over by a minivan." And the dude just started dying laughing. It was an undercover minivan. The dude just starts dying laughing.
Minivan,
he's like, "That's risky though, dude. Like, they can take that one or two ways. Yeah, they can laugh or they can think you're being an asshole."
I have told you one time I actually got a ticket. The other times, again, you talk to them, you're respectful. I crack jokes at myself all the time. I try to be funny. Like, it just comes out. And I don't really have a filter. I just kind of say what comes to my mind. And this one was a minivan. How many times have you ever been pulled over by a fucking minivan?
Never. I've been pulled over like 10 times.
By a minivan.
Yeah,
I'm like,
awesome, though.
This is awesome. Yeah. How did you get lights in your minivan? Like, do you take your kids to school in this? Like, what happened?
Like, is a soccer mom in there? Like, what the hell?
Doubt. No, but it was a dude with a minivan.
Yes, sir. No, sir. You'll get out of them all.
No doubt. But yeah, I mean, again, 10 to 15 times I've been pulled over. I don't know the exact count, but I have only gotten one ticket. Now you're always going to get that one dickhead that just isn't going to hear anything. He's just black and white. This is a law. I am the law. Blah, blah, blah. Here's your ticket. F you. Have a nice day.
If you think about it, none of us are cops. We have a friend that's a cop, and we've all known cops, and you may have a family friend and all that. And what they do is dangerous, and it helps us, and it's needed. They're after the asshole that just robbed a bank or killed somebody or
is going 90 and a 45 or
90 and a 45
yes.
or assault or armed robbery, like a number of things.
Tokyo Drift.
Sure. That pulling somebody over for an expired tag or something, unless you have a warrant out for your arrest because you just smuggled a ton of cocaine into the, U.S.
I've done that.
You're going to, I'm sure you have.
Pills and lube into
you are going to court just to say, hey, I paid the ticket or here's my whatever, and it's done with. Like there are bigger fish to fry, if you will, in terms of what they are pulling people over for. If you don't have a warrant out for your arrest, anything like that, odds are if you're respectful, nice, make their job easier rather than harder, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Do we even want to get into the other topic, or we want to just save that for the next pod?
We'll just save it, man.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's a good one. Taco Bell, and I really want Taco Bell now.
I thought you were against Taco Bell. Weren't you the one last time who said you were against it?
No.
Oh, that was Ferris. Okay.
Glenn Michael Ferris is against Taco Bell. I am very pro Taco Bell.
What's your go-to?
Not that I'm against Taco Bell. Say what?
Dude, if you actually look at the dollar menu, I
go-to
usually
meal?
get the same. There's a cheesy bean and rice burrito. You get that with the extra sauce on it. Very, very, very good. Very good. I don't know what the
Fire
sauce is.
sauce.
Say extra sauce.
Gotta go fire if you go there.
They just give me that extra sauce, and then the is it? Now I can't even think of it. It's one that's built like a little hexagon.
Gordita?
No.
I'm just trying to think of commercial.
Come on. When do you guys know it?
Hexagon?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that.
Crunch Wrap.
Crunch Wrap Supreme.
Oh, there.
There's a loyalist right there to Taco Bell. Yes, a Crunch Wrap Supreme. That is what I also get. So you can't go wrong there. And I have one that's 5 minutes from my house, which is semi why I moved over here. I go
For
based
a
off
Taco
of Taco
Bell?
Bell locations. No, I'm kidding.
100%. 100%.
What I do is I go on Zillow
Took
and then
that-
I cross-reference
into it, yes.
overlay a map of Taco Bells, and then I just drop out and I see how far away I can live from a Taco Bell. So this one conveniently is just 2 minutes away.
Here's my theory with that. Taco Bell. Why do I want to go and get some ass tacos that is going to literally make you
They're actually
where
pretty good. They're not as bad as I thought. I went decades without trying them because back in high school when I went, they were horse. My wife gets them for the boys every now and then. And one time I'm like, you know what? It, let's do this. And I ate it. And I'm like, damn, this is good.
Stop right there.
I
Stop
paid
right
the
there.
price
When you
Okay,
are
all right.
drinking, your mind
understand.
goes to two separate places: Taco
I've been
Bell, Steak and Shake.
Oh, Frisco melt. God,
those
I love good Frisco melt.
You are drinking, you either go to Taco Bell and Steak and Shake, and there's a reason why those motherfuckers stay open till like 4 a.m.
Oh,
They know their market. They know their
Steak and
target market.
Yep.
They know. Drunk people sold.
one Halloween, show up at a Steak and Shake on the UCF side of town at 4 a.m. You know how Steak and Shake, if you go in and eat, they have like that old like diner style bar in some of them, or like countertop.
Yeah.
At the end of the, mind you, this is like Halloween night at like 3:30. At the end of the bar, is King Kong.
I'm sorry, what?
Is King Kong looking like he just had the worst day of his life and he just had to pay $1 million to alimony and just got kicked in the nuts, head and hands on the bar, this big ass dude in a King Kong outfit sitting at a Steak and Shake at 3:30 in the morning.
Attaboy. It's because he knew he wasn't fucking Queen Kong.
I've never eaten my Frisco melt with a smile on my face more than looking down the edge of that bar and seeing King Kong and being like, my life's not half bad if King Kong's having a day down there at the end of the Steak and Shake bar.
Did you at least throw him a banana?
No, I did not.
Come on, man.
Come on, it's insult to injury. I'm not going to
No,
do
it's
that.
not. King Kong banana.
Anyways, on that note,
so
we've gone a little bit over the time limit from what our pods have been, coming in about 50-ish minutes. But as we said at the beginning of the pod, you can now listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and of course we are on YouTube. And you can access all of those via the site that Mr. Phil sent up for us, which is laidofflads.com.
Mm-hmm.
It is beautiful, and you can learn a little bit about us. You can access the video side of things. You can access the audio side of things. And it'll take you also to our social medias, which is Laid Off Lads. God, you're stupid. Laid Off Lads.
I love that for some reason. I don't know
Facebook
what it is, but
and
it
Instagram.
just makes me laugh every time. I can't even reach that octave, but when he hits it, it makes me laugh.
But thank you all very, very much for your continued support. If there's anything that you guys want to hear, you like, you don't like, please shoot us a line on any of those channels, and we will respond to you and be happy to talk about it. What's that?
You said shoot us a line, and I said we'll snort it.
God damn, we will not.
Been there, done that.
God, I have to pee. I'm sorry.
What is this pod? Phil's gone.
We
Thank
didn't
you
even
all.
talk about Harry and Meghan and their whole royal debacle this time.
Oh no, we didn't. We should have.
Because nobody gives a If you
Yeah,
do,
you're
we'll
right.
talk about it
You're
next
right.
week.
No, you're right. I really have not followed that a whole lot, but
Good.
anyways, thank you all very, very much. This has been another episode of the Laid Off Lads. Cheers. Drive safe. Don't drink and drive, please.
No.
We've all learned our lessons the hard way sometimes. But thank you all very much. Be safe. Take care.
That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to the Laid Off Lads podcast. And if you're hiring, well, you know where to find us.